الحمد لله الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب وجعل فيه الهدى والنور وشفاء لما في الصدور وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له ملك وله حمد وهو على كل شيء قدير وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله البشير النذير وسراج منير وصلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه الذين تعلموا القرآن وتدبروه وعملوا به بما فيه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. كيف حالكم يا أيها الجميعا, our brothers and sisters. Today's talk or reminder bi'idhnillah is a reminder to myself first and foremost, as well as a reminder to us all. Why is reading the horoscopes is not a light matter? And I know sometimes, especially here in the West, when it comes to certain issues, we seem to not really put too much emphasis on them, like the issue of celebrating birthdays or the issues of participating in certain holidays, and why we don't see these things to be of grave importance. And that is from multiple angles. And the first thing is understanding the concept, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu dukhulu fi silmi kafa wa la tattabi'u khutuwat ash-shaytan. Understanding the verse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, O you who believe, enter Islam wholeheartedly and do not follow the footsteps of ash-shaytan. Understanding this verse in its truest form is that the concept of emptying one cup, that when you come to al-Islam, you should come with an empty cup, not a full cup. Whatever you were upon before embarking or embracing upon Islam should not be, it should be wiped out. It should be empty. You should not come into Islam with the same things that you have before you embrace Islam. Now you have to empty that out. It's like you're coming like a newborn baby. So your instructions and everything, what's considered to be right and what's considered to be wrong, have to now come from that authority of Islam. You have to wait for those instructions to understand what is your Lord is saying, what does he demand of you, what does he prohibit you, what is your prophet is saying, what does he command of you, what does he prohibit you. And you have to leave off the traces and the remnants of all of those different things or those components that you had before embracing Islam. As far as those good qualities that you had that did not go against any tenets or any creedal issues of Islam, then you can enhance them, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you for them. But you have to understand this verse in its true form. Coming to Islam and still celebrating a birthday is meaning you don't understand this verse. You have not fully embraced Islam if you still are celebrating birthdays or holidays. And to use a feeble excuse that is for the children and it's not to deprive the children, then this understanding is even more weaker than the first. And you can't use the children as a means to still do things which your deen have sanctioned to be impermissible. And also we see that now as a trend here in the West, that many of the Muslims who are weak and have not embraced Islam wholeheartedly and have not understood this verse and have not entered Islam with an empty cup, they censor those Muslims who remind them of these things being haram and the grave seriousness of these things. So they say, don't pick on us. Everyone struggle with something. Don't bother us. Won't you speak to us in a nice manner? But they're not realizing that these things are crimes. These are not light matters. You understand? Horoscopes, if you don't understand the grave and the severity of horoscopes, then that means you don't understand shirk. Shirk, no matter if it's minor or major, is a crime against Allah. Okay? That's number one you need to put in your mind. It's the jarima. It's a jarima against Allah Azza wa Jalla. Shirk is a crime. It's not like how we got, here, and we got crimes in the court of law and things like that that's governed, the state or the city that you live in. No, with Allah Azza wa Jalla, shirk is like treason. Do you understand that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says in the Quran, so we can understand why horoscopes and reading them is not a light matter. Allah Jalla wa ala, He says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم قل لا يعلم من في السماوات والأرض الغيب إلا الله وما يشعرون أيان يبعثون. Allah says in the Surah Naml, which is the 27th chapter of the Quran, Allah says, say to them, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, none in the heavens and on the earth knows the unseen except Allah. Okay? None in the heavens or the earth. This excludes, this wipes out that there is no one from the heavens nor the earth. And you haven't met anyone from the heavens. Only through revelation. You wasn't the one that met Jibreel alayhi salam. You know of Jibreel because Allah sent down revelation via the messenger. So you haven't met anyone from the heavens. So anyone in the heavens or anyone that's in the earth, and understanding that there's only three worlds in the first place. Okay? That it is the life of this world, it is the barzakh, and it is the hereafter. So you haven't met people from the heavens. But Allah is telling you that no one from the heavens nor the earth understand the unseen. What does that mean to you? That means that no one can come claim, whether he's a messenger, whether he's a prophet, whether he's a righteous person, whether he's a saint, whether he's etc., etc. No one can come claim to you that they have knowledge of the unseen matters. No one can claim that because Allah has negated this. I'm about to give you another verse where He goes in more detail negating this. Allah Azza wa Jalla says, وعنده مفاتيح الغيب لا يعلمها إلا هو ويعلم ما في البر والبحر وما تسقط من ورقة إلا يعلمها ولا حبة في ظلمات الأرض ولا رطب ولا يابس إلا في كتاب مبين. In this verse, Allah goes more in detail and more in depth. He said, with Him are the keys of the unseen, all that is hidden. None knows them, but He knows whatever there is on the earth and the sea. Not a leaf falls, but He knows it. There is not a grain in the darkness of earth, nor anything fresh or day, but it is written in a clear record. So Allah Jalla wa Ala already knows these things in depth, which gives comfort to the believers. Because if you are being harmed in any way, whether you are being harmed, someone plotting against you and you don't have knowledge that they are plotting against you, the Creator does. So it gives you comfort that you know that you are protected by the one who can protect you. The one knows the ins and outs of the hearts. The one knows the ins and outs of everything. So why reading horoscopes is so detrimental and not a light matter is because the very concept of horoscopes is from astrology. And astrology, an astrologer is one who uses the stars to try to predict the future events of someone. Do you understand? So this is a claim of knowledge of the unseen that only the Creator has. So a person that claims to know something of only the Creator have is what? As a crime against the Creator. Allah Azza wa Jalla already negated in both of these verses that no one knows this. And the problem is that we really don't be reading the Quran. That's the problem. Allah is telling you that no one knows the unseen. So there's no reason why you use your newspaper, when you in a relationship, the first thing you're checking out for a sign. First of all, who told you had a sign? None of us are born with signs. Ain't no Leos, ain't no Aries, ain't no Aquarius, ain't no Taurus, ain't no Sagittarius, ain't no Virgos. Where you get all of this stuff from? Ain't none of that. There's no dalil, no la asl lahu for that. Only thing you can trace that back to is astrology. Do you understand? Now, the problem is that we have entered Islam with a half cup, with a full cup, and we did not empty our cup. So we did not practice the verse, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu udkhulu fis silmi kafa. This verse is very vital to your practice of Islam. This verse is very vital. If you don't understand it, if you did not really take time out to really think about it, and you did not put it in play when you came into Islam, you are going to have remnants of all of that old stuff you're bringing into Islam that can invalidate your very Islam. And this is an issue that can invalidate your very Islam, as we should go into it. Not only is the practice of astrology is haram, but also visiting an astrology and listening to his prediction, buying books on astrology or reading one's horoscope are also forbidding. All of that associated with it is forbidding, since astrology is mainly used to predicting the future. Those who practice it are considered fortune tellers. Consequently, one who seeks his horoscope comes under the ruling contained in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam statement when he said, the salat of whoever approaches a fortune teller and asks him about anything will not be accepted for 40 days and nights. This is collected by Sahih Muslim. Sheikh Salih Fawzan Hafidhullah, he commented on this hadith. Okay? The actual hadith is reported from some of the wives of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he said, "Man ata arrafan fasa'alahu an shay'in fasaddaqahu bima yaqul." That whoever goes to a fortune teller, okay, and so that you might say, well, he didn't say astrologer. Astrology falls under this because astrology is just like the fortune teller. They both claiming that they have some type of knowledge of the unseen. Okay, they just use different methods in their claim to get to that. But no doubt, they're both claiming that they have knowledge of the unseen. So he says here, فَسَأَلُهُ and shay'in fasaddaqahu bima yaqul, meaning that this individual acts, that's number one, he goes seeking this fatwa, he goes seeking this counsel, this question from someone other than Allah Azza wa Jal, when Allah just told you no one knows the unseen but him. So he went and go seek something about his or her future via these people. That's number one he did. Okay? Number two, he did not only just seek it. It wasn't curiosity that brought him to this case or brought her to this case. Really, the Prophet said, then he believed in what was told to him. He believes in the fortune teller. He believed in the horoscope. He believed in the astrology. He believed in these things. The Prophet said, that a person's prayer will not be accepted for 40 days and nights. Sheikh Salih Fawzan Hafidhullah, he says, العراف قيل هو الذي يخبر عن أمور الغائبة عن طريق الحدث وتخمين والظن. There is no doubt that the Arras, the fortune teller, in the oracle, it is said about them, it is the individual who informed you about the unseen matters. And they use different methods to do it, whether it is thoughts, preponderant thoughts and things like that, different methods to come up to why they ascertain these knowledge. Also, it is said about a kahin. A kahin, there is no difference between that and the arraf, as it comes in the statement of Shaykh Islam Taymiyyah when he said that the arraf, that is a general name, and included in it is anyone who claims to inform you about knowledge of the unseen. It is the same whether they use this means by way of the shayateen, because Allah informs us that the shayateen, what they do is they try to go up into the heavens and listen, and sometimes they're able to steal something, but Allah sends down the stars, which is one of the purpose of the stars. Notice as Qatada, the great tabi'i, he mentioned about the verse in Surah Al-Mulk when Allah Jalla wa Ala tells you that he had adorned, or zayyannaha, we have adorned the lower heavens. Okay? We have adorned it with the lamps. Allah called the stars here lamps, meaning that he said the stars only have three purposes. And those three purposes which were brought to us by revelation is, one, the stars is used as an adornment for the lower heaven. That's number one. Number two, it is used as a guide Okay? And number 3, it is used as a missile towards the shayateen. Rujuma lishayateen, as Allah said, is a rujuma. It are missiles to harm the shayateen who try to steal something from up there. Okay, so this is one way they use the pathway of the shayateen. And then you have another way where people use other things or other methods like reading your palm, palm reading, or different things such as that, or horoscopes, astrology, trying to glimpse or predict someone's future by way of something. Okay? And so that you know that all of these means are really just to get around the qadr. It is to get around the qadr. And a lot of those people that practice this stuff, they are practicing so they can make some money. And that shows you that human beings, and this is something that you really got to understand, this shows you that human beings really are not intellectuals. We have intellect, but the intellect is only raised to its highest level when it's in conformity to revelation. I don't think you understand that. There's no such thing of a bright mind outside of conformity to revelation. You won't find a person, even if he's a scientist, even if he's very smart, very academic, you will not find that we cannot attribute knowledge to that person if his aql doesn't lead him in conformity to revelation. If you find that he is against and oppose revelation, then he's really not intelligent. And this shows you that. Because you have people who have aql, but it's like they don't have no aql, that they will go to people knowing that they don't understand the unseen. It doesn't make sense. How can you go to someone who just like you? Everyone that claims to know the unseen, don't you want to know the most amazing thing about that? They cannot predict their own death. You ever thought about that? They cannot predict their own death. They don't even know when they're going to die. Period. So the fact that they're sitting here telling you what's going to happen to you in your future and you're sitting here believing it is a problem. They can't even predict their own death. Then they can't even ward off a sickness that will come to them. This is why the Creator never left us in the hands of others. Because only He has the ability to do that. They can't ward off no harm from them. They can't. So this is why you must understand what is Islam. Islam is not no religion. It's not no, okay, it's just a religion. It's just rules, regulations. It just wants you to be in conformity. No, Islam is a purifier. That's what it is. It's a purifier. What is it purifying you from? All of the different blemishes and stains that you will have that will prevent you from being a full slave. And what are those things? Disbelief, polytheism, shirk, disobedience, innovation. Everything that would turn you from your natural disposition, this is what Islam is. It's a purifier, and it's that agent to keep you intact with your natural disposition. The moment you fight against it, the moment you go against it, you are actually moving away from what's going to keep you intact with your natural disposition. This is why intellect follow revelation, not the other way around. It shows you. Waco, Texas. Waco, Texas. All these different things. You see many people by droves. One guy said, let's kill ourselves. I don't know how you come to the mind. Let's just kill ourselves. Cults. We follow this guy. He tells us to do this, and we just do it. Like the aql just not even there. And you put your faith in human beings who aql really is not even there. They don't have no aql. Safir, sufaha. They're foolish. Naqas al-aql. Their aql is deficient. They're only intelligent when they are backed and supported by revelation. That's when they are intelligent. That's when we are amazed, when we see someone in conformity to their natural disposition. And we must understand this. It's not a light matter, man. And the Prophet ﷺ is telling you in this hadith that comes in Sahih Muslim why it's not a light matter. Your prayer isn't accepted 40 nights and 40 days. What does that mean? And this is the part Sheikh Salih Fawzan, he says, when the Prophet ﷺ said he believes or she believes in what was being said to them by the fortune teller or even by the astrology or even by the palm reader and so forth, here this love fasaddaqahu, it does not come in Sahih Muslim. In Sahih Muslim, the Prophet ﷺ, he mentions that whoever goes to a soothsayer or fortune teller, his or her prayer will not be accepted for 40 days a night. He says, so the ruling is connected to just going to them. See, in the hadith in Abu Dawood and Ahmed, it mentioned that whoever believes in what he says. This is not the statement that comes in Sahih Muslim. The Prophet said, whoever goes to them, whether they believe or not, whoever goes to the soothsayer, whoever goes to the fortune teller, whoever goes to the astrologer or horoscopes, whoever goes to them, it doesn't matter. Just going itself, and you understand, your prayer is not accepted. He says, لأن إتيان الراف والذهاب إليه جريمة ومحرم حتى ولو لم يصدقه. He said, because going to the soothsayer or the fortune teller or the astrologer, he says, this is a crime. I told you, it's a jarima. It's a crime against who? Allah Azza wa Jalla. It's a crime, and it is haram, impermissible, even if the person doesn't believe what's being said to them. That isn't the point. He said, وَلِهَذَا لَمَّا سَأَلَ مُعَاوِيَ بْنُ حَكَمْ Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, for this reason, when we find that the noble companion Muawiyah ibn Hakam asking the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam about the soothsayers and about the fortune tellers, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "La ta'tihim, do not go to them." He said, "Nahaw an mujarrad ityanihim." Here, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam just prohibited him from going. He said, "Don't even go to them at all." He said, فهذا حديث يدل على تجريم. He said, تجريم الذهاب إلى الرفين. He said, this hadith indicates or shows us the crime, the great crime of going to the fortune teller, even if you do not believe in them. He said, well, I will call, even if a person was said, I only went to them just to see, meaning out of curiosity. I just wanted to see. That's all. I don't believe in nothing they say. I'm just going just to see, out of curiosity, right? He says, فَهَذَا لَا يَجُوزُ. This is not permissible. When the Prophet ﷺ said that the prayer would not be accepted for 40 days and 40 nights, then what is understood from this is a tremendous an extreme punishment for the person who goes to an astrology or read horoscopes. Your prayer is not accepted for 40 days or 40 nights. Just reading the horoscopes, let alone you talking about your mouth. Yeah, I was dating a Virgo. They hard, they tough to deal with. Let alone you just talking about this. You see how light this is? You're talking about, oh yeah, I was dating someone who was in Sagittarius. This, and how? First of all, how can you be Muslim in the same breath? We're not saying that you're not Muslim. Don't get me wrong, because the Prophet ﷺ did not exit them out of the fold of Islam by doing these things. So we're not saying that. I don't want no one to misunderstand what I'm saying. But if you look at the essence of it, if you are a Muslim, how can you believe that someone other than Allah or something other than Allah know about the unseen? How can you believe that? This is where Tawheed coming in. If you are a Muslim, how can you believe that there's something or someone knows about your future events other than your Creator? How? It doesn't make sense. How? Yes, that all falls under it. You have to understand in Islam the ruling to most things. There are ruling in fiqh where the scholars, they explain that there are means that prevents anything that's haram and the means that leads to that thing to being haram. Allah puts a subtul bab. He subtul bab. He closed that avenue too. This is why he says, "Wala tak." He did not say "Wala taf'al zina." He don't say "Don't do zina." He say "Do not approach zina," meaning all of the avenues and areas that leads to zina becomes haram in and of itself as well. Don't do that. The ulama explains this in fiqh. So in terms of looking at things that are associated with things that are especially grave like this, shirk, then those avenues have to be shut off too. And we have to understand that if you notice the Prophet ﷺ, he cursed at 10 type of people when it comes to khamr. That extends over even to drugs. Drugs is not just, khamr is not just drinking alcohol beverages. It's anything that intoxicates the mind. So you have to look at all of those things. The ulama are going to use those same rulings that's going to apply to those things as well. Anything that's going to lead you down a path that is detrimental, especially to your aqeedah, because people don't understand this. Shirk is detrimental to your aqeedah. There's no I'm Salafi and you got shirk in you. That doesn't... There's no I'm Ethity, but you got shirk in you. There's no I'm a muwahid, but you got shirk in you. It's detrimental to your belief. So for shirk and belief, no, it doesn't coexist. Do you understand that? So you have to make sure, if you're a true muwahid, if you're truly following Ibrahim alayhi salam, if you're truly following Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you have to make sure you're free from any agent of shirk. You understand? You have to make sure those remnants are out there. So going to horoscopes and believing in the signs. You know, many of us was caught up in that stuff. We read the newspaper or we read the different things and we'll see that, oh, the areas, this is what they say these signs are like. SubhanAllah. And then we'll start believing that. Yup, I see that. And then we'll make up things that we believe in. Yeah, that's true. You know, I saw that. I told you that's how Aries, man. They're so easy to get along with, you know. And, you know, Virgos, this and that. That's why Leos, man, you can't. Oh, I'm a Leo, and we talk like that. And it shows you that when we came into Islam, we did not come into Islam wholeheartedly. We came in with a half full cup or a full cup. We didn't come in with an empty cup. And so because we didn't do that, we still celebrate birthdays. And we take that as a light matter. And it's a light matter to us. Celebrating a birthday or a child birthday is a light matter to you. But that's an Aqidah issue. It's not a light matter, yo. It's an Aqidah issue. And you might say, well, brother, what's your proof that it's an Aqidah issue? Because it seems like it's more so Allah legislating something. There's an Aqidah issue because, first of all, who can legislate something? Who can legislate Eid? From your belief is that Allah Azza wa Jal is in Rububiyyah as well as Uluhiyyah. And when you legislate something, we know legislating something becomes an act of worship. So if it's legislated from the legislator, then we know that it falls under an act of worship. And if it's an act of worship, it falls under Uluhiyyah. And legislating falls under Rububiyyah. So if you're going to say that celebrating birthdays is not a legislation, meaning like a certain holiday or thing like that, then you're saying what? It is an Aqidah issue. So dealing with horoscopes is an Aqidah issue. So you're going back saying, I'm going to read about a Leo, read about a Virgo. No, it's not a light matter. It's not a light matter. It's contradicting. It's contradicting to your very belief. And this is why we are weak. To be honest with you, I'm getting ready to stop, but I want to just bring this as a reminder to myself. But this is really why we are weak. We're not weak because we don't have the numbers. We are kathir. The Muslims are kathir. We are many. If you don't know that, we are one of the largest growing religions in the world. We're not weak because of numbers. That's not it. We're not weak because of that. We're not weak behind strength. We're weak because the very foundation that we're supposed to have is weak. And if you look at the pretense or the rules in Surah An-Nur, Allah has a beautiful verse where He says, لَاسْتَخْلِفَنَّكُمْ, that indeed I will give you succession in the land. But He mentioned two main things that will afford you that succession in the land. And that is, number one, is that you have to understand that that succession comes by having no partners with Allah. You have to be free from shirk. You have to make tawheed the main ingredient. Because power only comes from Allah. It doesn't come from numbers. It don't come from men. It don't come from... Power comes from Allah. This is also a belief that we have. It's in the Quran. Power comes from Allah. Izzah comes from Allah. Honor comes from Allah. All of these different things come from Allah. So if you need to understand that, there were large bands of men who still lost the battle. So if numbers was the power, how come they still lost? There were a large group of armies that went and fought and still lost the battle. How come they lost the battle? If numbers was the case. If strength was based off of that. Because power is with Allah. You have to understand that. And because we don't understand these eternal parts, and because we are shaky in our very foundation, we are weak. And that's why we celebrate birthdays. And that's why we make excuses for it. And that's why we read horoscopes. And that's why we make excuses for it. And that's why we do all these different things. Because we really don't have a strong belief in Allah. We really don't have a strong belief. We're jumped from our own shadow. We're jumped from our own shadow. Someone come to it. Come here. Come here. Let me tell you something. Oh, that makes sense. Well, billah. And now you on a whole different path. But you thought you was firm upon Islam, but you wasn't. The whole time you were shaky. Did you not hear Abdullah ibn Mas'ud? He told the man what? La talawwan. He told the man, Iyyak wa la talawwan. Do not be shaky. Don't be like a leaf that's going with everyone. Don't be shaky in your deen. فَإِنَّكَ دِينِ He said, فَإِنَّ دِينَكَ وَاحِدٌ. For your deen is one. Don't be shaky. Don't be shaky. Right? Don't be shaky. So an individual has to really understand that there are levels to get your iman strong. And if you don't take the proper methods to do that, and you don't build on what takes the necessary building blocks, your iman not going to get strong. That's why you have to pay attention to the seerah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What did Allah start with first, and what did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala build them up? Look how he did it. He took a group of people, and that group of people was scattered. That group of people, when Islam came, they were weak in the beginning in terms of strength, being persecuted by just trying to practice their faith. Then he gave them a whole state. Then he laid down rules and regulations for that state to follow. Then he ordered jihad and fighting and so forth. But in the weak state, he didn't do that. He, in that weak state, which we know in the Meccan period, he was cultivating their hearts, which Sheikh Al-Albani called the tasfiyah stage. He was purifying their hearts from the remnants of things that will cause it to be weakened, like shirk. Okay, like disbelief. These things were weakening their stance. They needed to have the qulub that was connected to their creator, because nothing can beat that. You can't beat someone whose heart is connected to the creator. So you have to understand the beginning stage. You want to know, the ulama laid it out. It's not me. The ulama laid it out from the prophetic seerah. You have to look at his biography. What do you start with first to build yourself up? You eradicate those remnants of those things that you have. Like, you have to purify your qalb. Your heart have to be purified. How do you purify your heart? Okay? How do you purify your heart? There are many things. Number one is your iman. Your iman deals with the issue of the heart, if you don't believe it or not. It is those eternal things. You have to build on that. Learn about iman billah. What does that mean? Learn about iman bil rasul, bil rusul, and his messengers, bil kutub, and his books. Learn about these things. These are eternal structure things. Once you become solid and founded in that you know for sure that nobody know the unseen. You can be the last person on earth, and someone come to you and say, yo, I know that this gonna happen tomorrow, or this gonna happen 20 years. You're not shaky, because you already know Allah Jalla wa Ala told you, Kul la ya'lamu man fis samawati al-ardi al-ghayba illa Allah. Allah told you this in the Quran. No one knows, none in the heavens or the earth knows the unseen except him. So no one can come fool you, no matter who they are. This is why the believers is not going to be fooled by the Dajjal. The Dajjal is going to do many things. Allah is going to allow him to do many things that he can do that alternate the natural current or state of things. He's going to be able to do them things, but the believer is not going to be tried, because the believer knows. They have their faith is not shaky. But our faith is shaky because we thought it was all about Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, let me do on a jilbab, let me do on the garb, let me go to this masjid, let me say the student name, let me say the scholar name, and that was it. That was Islam right there. As long as I say certain names, as long as I go to certain a certain masjid, or as long as I do this, that was Islam. Then you're missing it. That wasn't Islam. That wasn't Islam. I mean, that's outer aspects, and we're not taking that away, but that wasn't Islam in a nutshell. Islam is the eradication of all of these remnants from your heart. Build it up. You'll be the strongest person, the strongest man, the strongest woman on this earth. No one can beat faith. Every kuffar, Orientalist, if you read their books, there's no stronger agent, there's no stronger deterrent. Anything that is stronger or the power of faith, no one can beat it, man. That's what the story of the boy, the king, and the sorcerer was trying to tell you. No one can beat faith. Anyone that is convicted is a strong conviction. The word aqidah, as they spring down, is aqata. It's something that you use to tie a knot. Something that is firm, that is binding. So once it is firmly rooted, it can't be uprooted. It can't be shaken. This is why you've seen the companions in their lifestyle, when they was going to persecute and kill him, they was able to pray. I only want to make 2 rak'ahs. And he didn't even make them long. He said, I want to make 2 rak'ahs, and he made them swift. But he didn't want it. This is why you find Abdullah ibn Hudafa did not do any of those things, because you cannot, under no circumstances, become shaky. And I have to be honest with myself, and you have to be honest with yourself. We haven't reached a solid ground with Islam. We haven't. We're nowhere near where the companions was at. We're shaky. I'm included. We're shaky. We're shaky. We know about Alhamdulillah Tawheed. We know about aspects of it, but we're shaky. We know that we're shaky when we go face the court system, or we go face a job, or we go face different things. We're willing to compromise. We're willing to hide our identity. We're willing to shy away from what we're supposed to be upon just so that we can appease the other people. That's shaky. I don't care what you call it. That's shaky. That's shaky. When do you have to become apologetic for what you are and what you believe in? When do you have to hide for what you are and what you believe in? You're not hurting nobody. You're not harming nobody. But because of what you believe in and because of the society you live in, you feel shaky enough that you got to hide what you are. Come on, man. That's shaky. So it's important that we would not be weak if we stay away from these horoscopes. It's not a slight matter. We even got, subhanAllah, man. We even got Muslims who take Christmas trees into their houses for hijab, kufi. This is why I always tell people, do not be impressed with the numbers of the Muslims. Allah Jalla wa Ala is not looking at numbers, He's looking at quality. Do not be impressed by the numbers of the Muslims. Do not be impressed. You have people for hijab going to go buy Christmas trees. What do you have to put now? This is what they're doing. They're going in to buy. They don't even know the remnants of the shirk in that. Like, I just can't even fathom that. Like, do you understand? You can't. And then they say, well, brother, why are you not being sympathetic? Maybe they're not there yet. No, we know they're not there. We know we're not there. What did that companion say? He said that rarely we were new into Islam. And we seen that the Jews had a tree. What did he say? He said, we see that the Jews had a tree that they used to hang their weapons on. And we said to the Prophet ﷺ, can you make for us a tree like that and what? That's what they used to call it. They used to call it that and what. Can you make for us a tree? Can we just take a tree that we can hang our weapons on? The Prophet ﷺ said, subhanAllah. He said, you just did what the people, Bani Israel asked Musa. Can you make for us ilah like they have an ilah? He equated it to shirk. By them having a tree to hang weapons up, and even though they were newly into Islam, pay attention, even though they were newly into Islam, he didn't use that as an excuse because they were newly into Islam. He said, indeed, you have disbelieved after believing. This is what the hadith says. You have disbelieved after believing. You came into Islam, and you just disbelieved in Islam after believing because you thought that some tree that you hang your weapon on was going to give you tabarruk, some type of protection. So the Prophet ﷺ dealt with the shirk head on. He didn't make, they're not there yet. No, they shouldn't be bringing no Christmas trees in their house. Whether they're there or not. Whether they're newly in Islam, whether they're late in Islam, it doesn't matter. We're going to censor the shirk. That's what we're going to do. We're not going to be apologetic about it. They shouldn't read the horoscope. Whether they're newly in Islam or not, we're not going to be apologetic about it. They should not read the horoscope. Period. Why? Because you disbelieve after you believe. As it comes in another narration, whoever goes to a fortune teller and believe what they say, the Prophet ﷺ said, فَقَدْ كَفَّرَ بِمَا جَاءَ مُحَمَّدٍ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ. This person had disbelieved in what Muhammad have came with. This person have disbelieved in what Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came with. So don't sit there and say, I have to be apologetic, or I have to be sympathetic, or I have to be compassionate, I have to be understanding that these people are celebrating these things. No, I don't. It's shirk. And I should dislike it because that's what a muwahid does. That's what a muwahid does. That's what a person who is a Muslim of Islam does. They do what? وَبَرَاءَةُ مِنَ الشِّرْكِ وَأَهْلِهِ. They dislike shirk in his people. They do what? As Ibrahim said, إِنَّ بُرَاءَ مِنْكُمْ وَمِمَّا تَعْبُدُونَ مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ كَفَرْنَا بَيْنَنَا وَبَيْنَكُمْ وَكَفَرْنَا بَيْنَكُمُ الْعَدَاوَةَ وَالْبَغْضَاءَ حَتَّى وَحْدَ اللَّهِ He said, حَتَّى تُؤْمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَحْدَ. He said, indeed, I dissociate, I remove myself from shirk, from that which you, from you, from yourselves, and from that which you worship besides Allah. And it is animosity and hatred between us until you believe in Allah alone. This is the muwahid. So I can't sit there and use the excuse they newly into Islam so they can have a Christmas tree, they can celebrate their birthday, they can read horoscopes, etc., etc. I'm not doing that. No, it's shirk. It's shirk. And you need to know better. And I'm going to be stern with you doing that. We cannot believe in horoscopes. The very idea of reading horoscopes, going to a horoscope, is denying what Allah and His Messenger came with. If Allah says He's the only one who knows the unseen, then why are you acting like it's someone else that knows the unseen other than Him? That is shirk. And this is what we were able to bring today, inshallah ta'ala, very briefly. Sorry to wake up this morning with something about this, but this is plaguing us, man, as Muslims. We need to get back to building ourselves up as Muslims. If you really want to be a Muslim in every sense of the word, start really having some humbleness. Start being honest with yourself. Look yourself in the mirror. Analyze your actions and realize, are you really a Muslim? Is Allah really pleased with you? Have you really surrendered? Or you pick and choose what you want to practice from this deen? What do? You pick and choose what you want to practice from this deen? Oh, I want to practice this today. Or I feel like this today. If that's your state with Islam? If that's the truth, then you have to analyze this. What are you picking and choose to do? Or are you submitting to the text? Because if you're submitting to the text, then you have the right to say you're Muslim. If you're not submitting to the text, I don't know. I mean, you want to be fraudulent? I don't know. And this is something that I battle with every day. Am I a Muslim today? Start judging yourself. The Salaf was judged themselves. They take account of themselves after Asr. Judge yourself. Was I Muslim today? Have a checklist. Okay, did I pray my 5 on time? Okay, was it a fast? Did I fast? Okay, did I believe in Allah Azza wa Jal? Was I tested with this? Did I say my adaiyyah, my du'as in the morning and the evening? Have I did this? Have I did that? And write it and check it off. Are you Muslim? And then grade yourself. Oh, today I was 50% Muslim. I gotta beat that record. God, then if I live, inshallah, I'm gonna become 75% Muslim. God, then if I live, I'm gonna become 100% Muslim. And I'm gonna try to maintain the average of 100% Muslim. Is what I'm gonna try to do out of the week. Grade yourself. That's what we do. Tahasibu anfusukum qabla an tuhasibu. As Umar ibn Khattab said, we judge ourselves before we are taken into account. Judge yourself. You know what you're doing, man. And stay away from any holidays that was not sanctioned by Allah. Stay away from birthdays. Stay away from horoscopes. Stay away from fortune tellers. Stay away from just imitating the kuffar, period, man. Stay away from it. And stick to what Islam came with. Because Islam isn't boring. It is actually beautiful. And if you can't see the beauty in Islam, I question, do you understand Islam? Islam is beautiful, but you can't see the beauty in it because all you're looking at is what the kuffar have. All you're looking at is what you used to be upon before accepting Islam. And all you're looking at is, oh, it's just knowing this. No. Islam is beautiful. It is a connection with your Creator, the one who can give you everything you want. And this is what we try to call ourselves to. Whatever we said that was incorrect, it's definitely from ourselves and the shaitan. Please stay away from reading the horoscopes, even reading them, believing them. Please stay away from the horoscope. No Muslim should read horoscopes. No Muslim should believe in them at all. No Muslim should actually consult with someone. Do not call yourself an Aries. Do not call yourself any of these signs, because if you do, you are committing a form of shirk, and your salat will not be accepted for 40 days and 40 nights. Sheikh Salih Fawzan said what that means is that the thawab, the reward of the salat itself, will not be accepted, and it's a grave punishment, even though you still have to carry out the prayer and apparently, but you still understand that your reward for the salat will not be accepted. So stay away from that, inshallah. Whatever we said that was incorrect is definitely from ourselves and the shaitan. Whatever we said was correct is from Allah Jalla wa Ala. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Jazakallahu khairan.